Her name once echoed in every royal court of Europe. Kings, queens, and nobles entrusted their beauty only to her. But as time passed, Rosalba Carriera, the Queen of Rococo, was almost erased from history. This woman transformed the art of pastel, breathed new life into portrait painting, yet her name slowly faded from memory. But why? Why is Europe's most celebrated woman artist now nearly forgotten? Let us open the dusty pages of history and uncover the story of the forgotten genius named Rosalba Carriera. Fact 1. Her childhood, Rosalba Carriera, would one day become one of the most delicate and refined artists the world had ever seen. But her story began in a modest home in Venice. She was born in 1675, in a neighborhood filled with the scent of the sea, narrow winding streets, and small artisan workshops. Her father was a simple clerk, and her mother crafted embroidered designs on velvet and silk curtains. From a very young age, Rosalba showed an unusual sensitivity to colors. While other children played outside, she gathered her mother's leftover threads and created tiny miniature images from them. At the time, no one could have imagined that this quiet, shy Venetian girl would one day become the most celebrated woman artist in Europe and completely transform the history of pastel art. Fact 2. Rosalba Carriera's early mastery. While still very young, Rosalba Carriera displayed an astonishing artistic talent. As a teenager, she began painting miniature portraits on ivory, one of the most delicate and technically demanding art forms of her era. These miniatures were crafted with such precision that the tiny portraits seemed almost alive. Aristocrats wore Rosalba's miniature portraits as status symbols, carried them in their pockets, and even gifted them to their lovers. Her mastery of this art form quickly made her famous in Venice. It was extraordinary for such a young girl to create works with this level of finesse and control. And it was these tiny portraits that became Rosalba's first major step toward becoming one of the most renowned female artists in Europe. Fact 3. Rosalba's pastel revolution. Rosalba Carriera was the woman who opened an entirely new chapter in the history of art. She was among the first artists to elevate pastel painting from a minor decorative craft to a major portrait art form. At the time, painters viewed pastel as a toy medium, something light and unimportant. But Rosalba proved that pastel could capture light, softness, and human emotion with a precision unmatched by other materials. In her portraits, the glow of the skin, the depth of the eyes, and the silky texture of the hair left viewers mesmerized. Her innovative approach created a massive wave across Europe. Aristocrats, kings, and nobles adored her pastel portraits, and commissions began pouring in. Today, the rise in popularity of pastel art is directly linked to Rosalba Carriera's influence. In short, Rosalba didn't just use pastel, she transformed it, popularized it, and etched it into the artistic identity of Europe. Fact 4. The artist who conquered Europe. Like a storm, Rosalba Carriera was not only famous in Venice, she became the most sought-after portrait artist among the aristocracy across all of Europe. Her fame spread so rapidly that the courts of Paris, Dresden, Vienna, Rome, and the Holy Roman Empire began inviting her personally. Nobles lined up just to have their portraits painted by Rosalba. She created such a sensation in France that she became one of the first women ever elected to the French Royal Academy of Painting, an extraordinary achievement in the 18th century. Even the royal family competed to acquire her works. Every journey she made through Europe turned into an event of its own, bringing her new students, new admirers, and new commissions. She became one of the rare women who proved that sheer talent alone could reshape the artistic taste of an entire continent. Fact 5. The woman who reinvented the pastel technique. Rosalba Carriera is best known for transforming pastel colors into a full artistic revolution. During her time, pastel was used mainly for sketches, but Rosalba became one of the first great masters to turn it into a primary painting technique. She used pastel so skillfully that viewers often refused to believe her portraits weren't made with oil paint. The softness, the delicate transitions of light, and the lifelike skin tones she created left people in awe. Rosalba applied color in delicate layers, producing a silky smooth, luminous texture that became instantly recognizable. Her technique became so popular that pastel portraiture turned into a major trend across Europe in the 18th century. And Rosalba was the architect of that trend. Because of her mastery, pastel rose from being considered a cheap material to becoming a symbol of elite art. For this reason, art historians often call her the Queen of Pastel. Fact 6. The woman artist who conquered Europe's royal courts, Rosalba Carriera, was not only famous in Venice but across the royal courts of all Europe. Ordering a portrait from her was considered such a privilege that kings, queens, dukes, and even papal representatives would place their names on her waiting list. She caused an even bigger sensation in Paris. When the prestigious Palace of Versailles discovered her work, aristocrats flocked to her studio. She was soon called the most desired portrait artist in Europe. People even said that owning a portrait painted by Rosalba was valued as highly as the most fashionable luxury jewelry of the era. Fact 7. Rosalba Carriera, the woman who redefined beauty and fashion in the 18th century. Rosalba Carriera was remarkable not only for her artistic style, but for the influence she had on the aesthetic tastes of all Europe. In an age with no social media, no photography, and no fashion magazines, Rosalba was practically the influencer of the 18th century. Her portraits set the fashion trends of Europe. The aristocratic women she painted became so iconic that noble ladies across Europe began treating Rosalba's aesthetic as the ideal model of beauty. The features she emphasized in her portraits quickly turned into trends. Silky, luminous skin tone, soft pastel-colored makeup, natural-looking rosy cheeks, voluminous, delicate curls, dresses in milky pink, cream, and light blue tones. When Rosalba painted a portrait of an aristocratic woman, it immediately became the talk of the entire court. Soon after, other noble women demanded the same hairstyle, the same pastel-colored silk gowns, and the same gentle makeup style. She created a new visual language of beauty with pastel colors. Rosalba didn't just popularize pastel as an artistic medium. She also changed the psychology of color in European art. She showed that beauty and power didn't always come from dark, heavy tones. Soft shades could be just as captivating, elegant, and attention-grabbing. This approach helped form the foundation of one of Europe's most iconic artistic eras, the Rococo aesthetic. Her portraits became a symbol of aristocratic status. Rosalba was so influential that owning a portrait painted by her became equivalent to possessing a luxurious diamond jewel, earning a title in the French court, or displaying the highest level of social prestige. At the Palace of Versailles, a single portrait by Rosalba could literally shift the fashion direction of the entire court. Conclusion: Rosalba Carriera shaped the fashion, beauty standards, and aesthetic culture of her era. If Instagram had existed in the 18th century, Rosalba would have been a cultural icon with millions of followers. Fact 8. Rosalba Carriera, the art genius who sacrificed her own eyes. Rosalba Carriera spent her entire life capturing the beauty of others on paper. Yet in a heartbreaking twist, she ended up losing her own eyesight. Pastel dust slowly blinded. Her Rosalba revolutionized art by turning pastel into a respected painting medium. But the same pastel dust she worked with for decades entered her lungs and eyes, eventually causing severe and irreversible eye disease. In the end, she could barely see anything. Medicine in the 18th century was primitive, and her vision faded year after year. The artist who revealed the beauty of so many people watched her own world disappear into darkness, but she refused to stop painting. The most astonishing part? Rosalba continued to paint even as she was going blind. Using memory, touch, and the ghost of muscle memory, she kept creating art long after her eyes could no longer guide her. Fact 9. Rosalba Carriera, the woman who saved her art by burning her past. Rosalba Carriera didn't just create art, she protected her legacy with a shocking decision, a decision that is still debated by art historians today. She destroyed her early works. Biographers say that Rosalba personally burned or destroyed many of her early paintings. For her, perfection mattered more than nostalgia. She didn't want her youthful, weaker works to harm her reputation in the future. "Let my name be remembered for genius, not weakness," she used to say. Rosalba believed that an artist's legacy must survive only through their strongest, most mature masterpieces. So she erased every piece that didn't meet her own impossible standards. Fact 10. Her final days. Rosalba Carriera lost her eyesight in her final years and could no longer paint. She passed away in Venice in 1757. Yet she left behind a legacy that forever transformed pastel art.